Hello. I am adjusting this camera again because I
Have no face.
have no head. I did the exposure a moment ago, and it
was fine.
was fine, and then it didn't work. Okay, that's better. He's still Beacon of Gondor, but hello, everybody. Good morning. We have coffee and Panda. So, still working on the blackout curtain. I have one somewhere. We just need to find it. So, we are posing a question today that we had run across at one point, and it was, if you could go into the past for 5 minutes, a particular 5 minutes, and change something, or would you go into the future and see 5 minutes? And I think we were both kind of like, I would nope out of both, but I would probably take future over past because of the butterfly effect. You know, the whole, would I keep my father from dying? Would I go back in and get diagnosed for the lymphedema before I went through all that? Did I, there's certain pivotal points in my life that go back in those 5 minutes. Would I have a different conversation with my father 2 weeks before he died, or that kind of thing? But there's so much that would change that I don't know that I would have the life that I have now, and I wouldn't change that. But I don't know what I would do for the 5 minutes. What would you do, past or future?
Again, probably future. But
nothing so,
But I don't have a reason why I would choose that over the other.
Right. Other than it's just too complicated to keep track.
I think I see, and I think, and I'm not sure if. I think if with my experiences being limited the way they are, I'm sure there are people who would have things that they would definitely go, oh, I would definitely go in and change this. I don't really have anything glaring that I would be like, that I would get rid of. Yeah. I don't.
Yeah. Because those are the building blocks of who we are now.
Right.
So, I wouldn't want to change that. I wouldn't want to risk not having my daughter, or risk, there's certain things and certain traumas around my dad's death that have worked themselves into making me a stronger person and giving me the ability to empathize with other people. And my hair turned white because of trauma related to that. And I know my dad loved me, but for backstory, I had a conversation with my dad where I was rude to him for the first time ever, and the only time ever in my entire life. And 2 weeks later at Christmas, he died. And that haunted me for a really long time. But even having that different conversation with him would not have changed what happened. And it was me learning about forgiveness and cycles and that kind of thing. So even doing that, I wouldn't go back and change anything. And as far as the 5 minutes in the future, I'd be like, what am I having for lunch tomorrow? I would pick something safe, something, which I know what I'm having for dinner tomorrow, because we're doing the train tomorrow night. We're doing train job, which is my train event. But the alternate histories thing has always been of interest to me. I actually did write a screenplay for one, but it wasn't finished, on called Killing Hitler. And I quit on it because there was too many butterfly effect things that I just couldn't wrap my head around. And oddly enough, Philip K. Dick did The Man in the High Castle, which is Netflix, I think. And haven't watched it. Rufus is in it. But I've heard good things about it, and it's run for a while. But
compared to the length of the book, it's
well, they always like Hollywoodize everything,
extrapolate it out into here. Let's make 6 years of content when the book's like 130 pages.
Game of Thrones, where they surpass the books. So, but so I was going through. We were trying to think of stuff that was alternate history. And originally he was like, I don't have anything. And I'm like, actually, you do. There's a link that I've got in below right now, and we'll add more links right after the live. The 100 best alternate history books of all time. Of course, it's a subjective list, but I recognized a few of them. This one I have not read yet. It's been on my to be read forever. But this one is Bone Shaker, Sherry Priest, Civil War, and steampunk. But I honestly picked it up because steampunk. I wanted to read a steampunk book. It came highly recommended, and aesthetically, it is gorgeous because as a book designer, I geeked out over the whole thing that it is printed on ivory colored paper. It has maps in it, and you'll notice the ink is brown. It is printed in sepia, and it is just beautiful. So whoever did the layout and made the choices they did, good job. Really good. And the cover design is immaculate. So this is on my to be read. And I bumped it up because of this episode. So I will have this read soon. And this, which I started, got derailed, and then there's that word again, side railed. I did that last time. I made that word up. Sidelined and derailed. So side railed is now officially a word. Yeah, sidetracked. So this is officially now a word now. I'm gonna have a copy with Panda word list going. But I started this one and I have to start it over because I've horrible memory with books. I read very fast, 400 words a minute last time I was timed, and retention is crap. But he reads slower than I do, and he remembers everything. So it's a trade-off. But this is if the Great Library of Alexandria had not been destroyed. And it is ruthless and supremely powerful. The Great Library is now a presence in every major city, governing the flow of knowledge to the masses. Alchemy allows the library to deliver the content of the greatest works of history instantly, but personal ownership of books is expressly forbidden. No, I'm sorry. Half our moving van up here from Florida was books, and I can't imagine not being able to personally own a book. I can't fathom that.
I think a lot of people would have just
a lot of people
underground shelves of stuff.
Oh, yeah. Keep. Well, that's actually what this goes into is the main protagonist believes in the value of the library, but the majority of his knowledge comes from illegal books obtained by his family. He's sent to be his family's spy, but his loyalties are tested in the final months of his training to enter the library's service. When his friend inadvertently commits heresy by creating a device that could change the world, Jess discovers that those who control the Great Library believe knowledge is more valuable than any human life, and soon both heretics and books will burn. So it's really good. It's really good. I dove into it, got really excited about it, got side railed, and then and then just hadn't gotten back to it. So this is going on my. I'm reading this right now, and I'm going to start reading this again today. Highly recommend. Really loved what I read of this one so far. But great alternate history. And I have another alternate history book that is if the Titanic had not sunk. And it's about this thick. And it's in a box, I think, because I can't find it on my shelves. So I'm not, I don't believe I donated it. I will know in a moment, actually, because I have my handy library app that we talked about last episode. But Val has some stuff while I'm looking that up.
We have the Assassin's Creed series.
Which your favorite is? Black Flag.
Black Flag.
Because pirate.
Because pirate. Age of Sail. Yes. Mm-hmm. Age of Sail. But Renaissance is the first one. So
there's quite a few of them.
Start there. I believe there are 6 or 7 of them total. Mm-hmm. There might even be more than that now, but I know there's at least 6 or 7. I own 5 of them.
They coordinate with the games?
They do. They coordinate with the Ubisoft games.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'll have to look it up.
But sending somebody back into the past, whether they embody somebody that's already there in the past, like their consciousness, or whether they replace them entirely to change history, feels very alternative history to me. You know,
that's very much the what would you do in the past to change the future, for sure.
Yeah. To orchestrate events. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The next one, which honestly, people are going to groan at me, but I have not read this, but The Watchmen is also an example from the list. And I happen to own it.
And Alan Moore is also B for Vendetta, which is also on the list. Mm-hmm. Yep. For alternate history, which I love V for Vendetta.
Yeah.
Alan Moore is brilliant.
Alan Moore looks like one of those guys that's just seen things. I mean,
yeah. Yeah, the photo they have for the back of the book on here makes him look like a homeless man. Like homeless and psychopathic. So he's got the crazy hair and the really stern eyes, and just you're right, he looks like he's seen things.
He's been going through cabin fever for too long.
Yeah. No offense, Alan. We love your work.
I have a lot of Alan Moore's work, actually. All of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen stuff is partially written by him as well.
Absolutely love League.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The other thing, are we on games yet or no?
Yeah.
Okay. No, we're just asking. I'm just going through the list of books.
Yeah, we're just general question today.
We both sat for a minute and were thinking, and she was like, "Oh, duh." I
was like, "Oh my gosh."
Shadowrun, and which I own like stacks of Shadowrun books. So this is the 3rd edition. This is just the core rule book. If you have nothing else, this is just how to make characters and how to run a game, pretty much. It's 1 volume, which is fantastic. There are a lot of other supplemental books that you could acquire, but usually you can find one of these on eBay for somewhere around $15 to $25 usually. In fairly good shape. This one's well loved. Yeah. I do have one that's actually in better condition in case I need a table copy. This one's the one that I read because it's bent out of shape. But yeah,
cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk.
Yeah,
cyberpunk meets magic.
Yeah, so it's kind of like magical realism.
Ghost in the Shell with elves is how I hear it described. Yes,
accurate. But it's this was a fun one for me to play, and we actually did a campaign. Mm-hmm. My daughter's dad, Logan, ran Shadowrun for us, mm-hmm. And between he and my daughter, they've run most of the games that we've done. But yeah, it's cyberpunk. It's fun. It's an alternative
magic. You can be a shaman or a sorcerer, like a mage.
You were actually the tech head.
I was the monk, actually.
Yeah.
I was the.
But you were the driver, and you had
the other game we played. I was the rigger.
The rigger.
Yeah, the rigger is a fantastic, fun thing to do because you've got drones, you've got like
all the tech toys,
souped up vehicles and things like that. It's fantastic, and you're like plugged into these vehicles.
Yeah, you're jacked in like the Matrix.
Very, very much like the best way I can describe it is like the scene where Trinity's like, I need to know how to fly a helicopter or whatever, and they kind of download it into her, and then she like gets into the helicopter and can fly. It's kind of like that.
Yeah. So, if you like tabletop, highly recommend. If you're into cyberpunk
and get lots of D6s,
sci-fi things,
you're gonna be throwing big piles of dice.
Oh my gosh, yes, that I remember because I bought like cubes of just
bring at least 12. Bring at least 12 to 24
D6 for that. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed this one. Now, my first tabletop game was not D&D. My first tabletop game was actually Roger Zelazny's Amber Chronicles. And that's magical realism bordering on alternate history because we had a bunch of things like you could pull from anywhere. Like one of the guys had Green Lantern's ring and I so totally screwed him on that. But there's different a ton of different games.
That's like saying you want to be in the genie's lamp. And then you're only able to act when somebody rubs the lamp.
Yeah. But D&D is not the end all be all for tabletop. It made the way for everything else, I believe, but it just there's so many with the great nerd uprising when Wizards of the Coast decided to be a schmo with D&D and all that. There were a lot of independent creators that came out. So you can find tabletop role-play games on pretty much everything. My daughter and I actually have been working on modules, and she's going to be doing hers with Dirty 20 Gaming, which is the group that we game with on Thursday nights. In fact, we will be live with game tonight. I will link below. And my daughter and I both play every Thursday night with them. And it's been a blast. But I'm working on kind of a cutesy little one involving Panda Tour, which that's a whole nother story. But Shadowrun, highly recommend, love it. Just it kind of reminds me of, which would probably also be alternate history New York. Aria, the comic series.
Oh yeah.
Where very magical realism. The bar's owned by Dionysus. She's Queen of the Fairies and she runs a storefront in New York. And just there's so many different things with that. I need to pull that comic series out and actually look at it again. We had Jay Anacleto, and sorry if I butchered your name, Jay. He did the artwork for it. It's gorgeous, but the series is no longer running, so you have to get like out of print copies and stuff for it. I have a few extra copies that I get people hooked on the series with, but
I have a set of what you gave me. They're in my box, so but they're in plastic, so
yeah,
they're safe.
So some of the other books that I actually that are on this list, I did donate because it's 800 pages And reading more about it, I'm regretting it now because I kind of want to read it and actually get into it. But Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clark, like I said, 800 pages, came out in 2005. I did donate that one, but that is also on that alternate history list.
Huh.
I am not seeing, so I must still have it. The other book about the Titanic.
Did you Google the premise?
Yeah, that's actually probably what I need to do.
Also, if you are into Stephen King, there's a fantastic story that's alternate history for the Kennedy assassination. But I'm also told that it has quite a fantastic love story attached to it as well.
It's 11/22/63 is the actual title, so it's the date. So 11/22/63, and that's the Stephen King one. We also talked about Edge of Tomorrow, the Groundhog Day style Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt movie where they're shock troopers and they're constantly dealing with aliens and they're constantly reliving the same day, and it's Live to Die Another Day or whatever the alternate.
Edge of Tomorrow?
Edge of Tomorrow is the actual title, but Die Another Day I think was the alternate title for it.
Every sci-fi game that I've ever played that's first person shooter, that's what you're going through. You spawn, you get your gear, you go out to some kind of jump zone, you fight your opponent. If you die, you respawn in a tube. Yeah. And you go back out, you get your gear again, and so it's literally live, die, repeat.
Yeah. Well, we used to do that with Star Wars Galaxies. And we had one guy that was a Trandoshan that I wish I'd had video of it because you could set up turrets.
I just remember hearing about this.
You could set up turrets, and somebody in their infinite wisdom set up a turret near the cloning area, the respawn area, to where you came out the door. Hey, Janet, how are you doing? Good to see you. But you only had this one way that you could exit the spawn area. And you couldn't get past the turret. So this guy, and you could see the person's name. So you'd see him spawn, and you'd see him running up the stairs, and you'd see him come out, and you see the turret take him out, and then it's just lather, rinse, repeat. And he was locked in this cycle until somebody could get rid of the turret. And we're just like, dude, wait till we can do this. And it was kind of that, wait, guys, this isn't funny. Stop. And it was just, oh my gosh, it was hysterical. We ended up drawing a crowd for it, but yeah.
Back in Planet Side, we used to have, usually you could do like 100 versus 100 battles. So you'd get 100 guys on each side going into an area. But what would happen sometimes is you'd get the enemy coming down wearing like the full heavy size exosuit, the ones that have like all the auto guns on them, and they would stand in the spawn tube area and just start shooting where the spawn tubes were. So every time somebody died, they come to the spawn tube, and the exo guy would just sit there and gun everything. Yeah.
You're a little sad. We're doing good. What's up? I hope you're feeling better. If you want to drop me a note in Discord, if you want somebody to chat with.
Sure.
Always happy to chat, but I hope the rest of your day goes better. We've had some sad things happen this year. It's been a challenge this year. Lost a lot of people. But I'm breathing and I'm vertical. So that for me is always a good start to my day. So check vent after stream. Okay, I will. But I love you, and I hope hope it's nothing major. But I will check and drop you a note. am glad you're here, though. We are talking alternate histories of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. One of the other ones that was, like I said, Alan Moore, was V for Vendetta, which is one of my absolute favorite movies. I have not read it yet. River of Teeth, which made me laugh because it feels very Sharknado-esque, and I'm surprised. I will be shocked if somebody hasn't made a B movie about it. I would think there probably is, but at one point in time, the U.S. wanted to buy and stock Louisiana with hippopotamus as an alternate meat source. But hippos are pretty savage and can bite people in half, so that was a bad idea, according to the book thing. Wolfstein was great. Wolfstein. I know there's a game that's
Castle
Wolfenstein.
Wolfenstein.
Yeah. And it's funny because when I have my 61 VW sedan, the insignia that's on the steering wheel is the Castle Wolfstein, or the one I had anyway. There's also there was one on the front hood that if it was a certain type, if it had a gold color in between the bricks, it was the insignia itself was worth like $500, and I had one of those, so I always had to worry about somebody prying it off and stealing it.
Mm-hmm.
Game. Okay. Cool. Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, which I've seen the movie.
Yes.
Is on the list. Guns of the South, which is Harry Turtledove. Haven't read any of Turtledove. Knew a bunch of people that came into my bookstore that did, that anything they would go nuts over. And that was bringing an AK-47 to the Battle of Gettysburg. So that I can't imagine went well. World War Z, of course, George Orwell's 1984 and Animal Farm. Bone Shaker, which I showed y'all, and the Great Library series. So those are some of the books that I'll link below. And I think that's pretty much the ones. I do actually have one that was written recently. Do I have it in here? I'm not sure. I think it's out in the other room. But I have a book that I worked on for a client that is an alternate history of the JFK assassination, and is really well written. And it is this book, which I'll link below. Camelot Assassin. I did his website for him as well. But so that's Andrew T. McDonald, local author. I did the interior layout and the website and everything for him. But really, and I don't usually read that kind of stuff, like political, alternate history stuff, necessarily like that. Man in the High Castle, I might read. I don't know.
It's not a very long book, from what I understand. A lot of Philip K. Dick is not very long. I do own one of his books, actually. It is just Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, which is Blade Runner.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So German won World War II. The main hero in the 60s fights them, but I hate multiverse idea. Yeah, the Man in the High Castle is the two superpowers are Germany and Japan. And how it basically the United States is split between the two of them, I think. And I haven't watched the show for it, and I have not read the book yet. But But yeah, those are some of the ones that we were talking about. And the question that I had posed earlier was, if you could, which would you do? Take 5 minutes in the past and change it, or see 5 minutes into the future? And both of us were pretty much like, I'd probably nope out of both, but I would pick something harmless, like I wouldn't do the past, wouldn't change anything, despite things that I could avoid. Um, but something benign like, what do I have for lunch tomorrow? Kind of thing. I'll take that 5 minutes. It's a safe 5 minutes. Um, but the butterfly effect and how one little seemingly innocuous thing in the past could have massive repercussions, um, for the future. So, but we are going to close it out. We've been here half an hour, which is about what we're shooting for these episodes, and we'll pick a theme for next week. Feel free to submit a question. Feel free to, I've got a podcast channel on my Discord, and I'll have a link down below to that. That you're welcome to post a question in there and help form what we talk about each episode. But we have some ideas. But thank you. Stay well, stay safe, wear your mask, wash your hands, take care of each other, and we will see you next week. Have a great rest of your week.